takeaways was that this is not science fiction, this is not theory. Companies are actually doing this. Many companies in the feed industry are actually already measuring the environmental footprints of the animal feed, and I think that's a really important lesson for us here at OECD, and we need to stay in touch with those industry initiatives to learn about their experiences as they go along that journey.
The importance of having a lot of data points, so improving the granularity and availability of data points in combination with external review, making sure those data points are validated.
Interested to hear about the branded data. I think primary data can really improve the estimation of environmental impact. And I think, I hope that more primary data becomes available, and also that these data is validated, that we really know, okay, this is really primary data and this is the real, or this is a better estimation of the environmental impact, and that we can use that also onwards in calculating the environmental footprint of, for example, livestock.
Now that I have like last station in my mind more recent, I think when we were speaking all about the branded data and all these part that are really primary data, the relevance of the primary data, I cannot avoid to connect with a tool that we have put in place on the ministry in Spain, Ministry of Agriculture, with the Ministry of Environment, which is called Ecogan, and it's at farm level data. And it's really interesting to listen that other on the sectors of the feed part, they are also saying the same, as primary data are very relevant. Of course, we need all the data as possible, so sometimes we cannot have the primary data. I mean, it's important to see that everyone is looking for this, everyone is sharing and is looking at the same point of view, that these are the best data, we are going to try to obtain this, and we will use the others at the same time. But I think what I'm going to bring back, to share that, okay, the companies are always, the sector is also working on the same pathway, we can say, because the goals are the same.
There's no aha, but I'm really convinced that the future has to be based on development of tools. For two reasons. Firstly, for standardized assessment, the calculations, and the second one is to make it easy for the companies to record data and then put it into tools and then directly submit it, for example, to GFLI.
For me, the biggest moment was to see how end users were using the data. And so we spend all this time collecting data and making sure it's good and usable, but I never really talked to end users on how they use the data. And that, for me, that was very important to see. You had various speakers that were giving their experiences and how they were using it in their modeling and in a real world setting. So that was very exciting.
But probably the biggest insight moment was when I was having a chat at the afternoon coffee break with one of the European soy suppliers, the representatives, Donau Soy. And it was that aha moment that a lot of the things that they're looking at from a soy perspective, we're also looking at from a marine ingredient perspective.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of common shared stories there that we had, and we were talking about them, about the certification story, about the LCA story, about how a lot of this is feeding into the needs of the feed sector, who are of course serving the animal production sector in terms of meeting their sustainability objectives. So it was really about that aha moment, is that, look, this is all a shared journey. You know, I'm representing the marine ingredient sector. Christoph was representing Donau Soy, the European soy sector. But what we're seeing is that all these different sectors are connected. Yeah, we're not alone in this little game, we're all connected.
First of all, I've learned a lot about the animal feed industry, the different perspective, the way they use their data and calculations of carbon footprint.
But the interesting thing of this workshop was that all the participants were trying to get common ground for future calculations in only one way and not in many other ways. I hope this workshop has benefit to avoid fragmentation, which is the situation nowadays.
A complex reality, especially on my desk, it's getting extremely complex. And so that's also why I think your work, Koen, on kind of collaborating all of this and harmonizing it is very, very important at this point.
Is of the data, and that it's mainly based on secondary data. Give it a score, give the bad score, give the primary data a good score, and communicate it all the time when you communicate results. I think that we really need more primary data, and that users also can see that this is primary data, or that can be either by a quality score, data quality score. And I think we really need to have that focus to improve the estimation of the environmental impact.
We could have the exact same thing that happened here and just control, search the word feed and replace it with fertilizer. So pretty much everything I heard is the same language that we're interested in doing, the same challenges, the same potential solutions, but of course for feed. So a bit more tangibly, I had a few discussions already so far about how to integrate fertilizer specific data.
So this is very relevant. And the integration tools, I think primary data are very relevant. You know what, Lucia Pitarch from the Ministry of Agriculture in Spain. We have developed a very relevant tool for farm level data, and we of course consider that primary data are very relevant, but also you need to develop them in order to be integrated in other tools. So using standard guidelines, and even with the possibility of going through inventory, national inventories as we had done. So all these three things I think are very, very relevant and to share between all of us. So thanks for the very interesting conversation.
Worthwhile to have a look upstream. What can we do to increase the quality of data?
The biggest word I would say is cross collaboration. So it's really good to see all these industries working together for this common good, which is getting these carbon intensity scores through the GFLI database, and then the other groups that use the data within their needs.
In one sentence, well, that's going to be a bit difficult, but I feel like it was, without turning into cliches, I feel like it was a very innovative or elevating discussion that we had, and I feel like we're really on the right track. And to see so many participants, I think that's already showcasing like how important it is to have these discussions and to see the interest for environmental footprinting. Sorry, that's not one sentence.